Hey guys. Oh yeah, can you see? It already came off. Anyways, today we're going to do this. We're going to do another Tino design. I'm going to try his wet floral painting technique. And we will see what we come up with. So I've got my colors out that match these as close as possible. And let's give this one a try and see how we do. Here. Okay. What do we need to start with? So we've got our colors. Please excuse my gems. So the Magic Armor gem glue. The gems are still on. Can you see? They're still on. Except this one, the gem actually popped off the backing. So anyways, that's the story. That's what's happening. Okay. So we're going to use these colors. So he did it's more of a teal. So I don't have the exact color. I want to stick with all Madame Glam colors today. So instead of the teal exactly, I'm going to use Birthday Boy, and I'm going to mix it with In All Honesty, which is like a jelly teal. And that should make the color we want. And then we're going to do flowers with the pink and the white. So for the leaves, we'll use our Korean gels, because this one, yeah, I think that's fine. I think that will be fine for the leaves. Okay, so they're all Madame Glam. Okay, so these are our colors. So this one is Electra. That's going to be our pink. We've got our Perfect White, and then we've got ProsperUS as our leaf. I mean, I could also mix that with that to make a teal, but because that's those should be fine, right? We're going to use our nail tips. So we'll do it with these. Okay. I use primer instead of a base coat. So let's just... Okay, so got our first, so we're going to start with one. I'm going to take a bit of Birthday Boy. Okay, we're trying this, okay, guys? And a bit of this. And we're going to mix them together. To make like a teal-y color, right? Okay, so he does it. You paint. Okay, so from here, we're going to take a little bit of our pink. So that's the Electra by Madame Glam. And remember, we have not cured that first coat, so that's a wet layer. And then we're going to take a little bit of the Perfect White. and put it here on the palette. Now this brush is a little too thick. So this petal brush is just a little too thick for what I want to do here. But let's just work with this one for our first nail, and you will see the difference just with how easy it is to do the petals versus the one I moved to. I start with this size petal brush, which is a little bit thicker than the one I moved to. So you're going to saturate the brush in the pink, and you want to go into the color every time you're doing one of these little swoopy lines. So the way we're doing sort of petals of a flower. So I start with doing, I press it down a little bit harder, and then I kind of lighten it up. So I'm doing 3 at the top, and then I'm doing 3 down the other way, or 4 or 5 or whatever you feel you need in the pink. So it's kind of giving a bit of a, like a teardrop feel. So pressing right at the beginning a little bit, and then sort of wisping the tail. So it has a slight point at the end. So I do end up switching from this brush to a smaller petal brush, but let's just keep going with this one. So this is my first try here. So I cleaned off my brush, and then I went in to the white, and we're just putting lines within the pink petals. And you can also put lines in the middle of each of the pink petals, just as much as you want. I think he does a lot more white than I did, so I should have taken note of that, because it does actually look better with a little more white. So not till my last one do I actually start putting more of the white in there. And sometimes I'm cleaning off my brush too. Sometimes I'm leaving it because it kind of gives a cool effect with like a mix of pink and white in the petal, right? But you do, it is nicer if every time you go in and you dip the brush into your color to do your next line. And that holds true for both the pink and for the white. And then I'm just doing a little bit of a center in the white. And the white is going to be our sort of background, I guess, for the pigment, because we're going to use a pink pigment with this as well to give more of a pinky flower effect once it comes out of the lamp. So that's the first one. I'm just deciding where I want to put a little more white and if it needs it. And I think I decide that it needs it here. This one I kind of messed up. This was my first try. I get better at these as we move on to the second, third. Actually, I think I royally F up the third one. And I'll show you why. And then once I'm ready, so the first one I didn't actually do the leaves yet. Okay. Then we're taking some pigment, and we're going to just, okay, pigment the center. And then we're going to take our green. I don't know if this is dark enough, but whatever. Can you see that? Let's put a bit here. And we're going to draw, oh my gosh, where do they go? let's do a couple here. Let's do a couple here. Okay, which I think you need a little bit of so that they point at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna cure that. Oh shit. Okay, so while that's curing, let's mix this. And let's try number 2. Is that one. So that one might be slightly smaller. So let's try this one, okay? Just to see if it makes a difference. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. The only other thing we want to do is we want to pigment it. So I'm going to pigment the other one. And then we'll come back. Okay, we're going to try another one while the second one is curing. So this is a better brush. So I'm going to get rid of that one. And we're going to use... Okay, let's do another one. So one coat of this teal. I'm going to try to do a thinner coat, because the thicker the coat is, the more it actually spreads. Okay, so let's try it with that. Let's move this one. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's try not to be so messy this time. Okay, so for the last one, I think by the 5th one, I've actually pretty much got the hang of the style, and the flower ends up looking much better. This is the one that I put more of the white in it, so that that pigment, when we do the pigment pink, it really adds to the effect of the flower. And if you notice, I've been doing the leaves on the wet layer instead of like the first one where I did it on the cured layer. So first layer wet of the teal, and then we're going to draw our flower. We're going to draw our leaves on the wet layer with our smaller petal brush. Then we're going to cure, and then we're going to pigment, and then we're going to top coat. So let's get into the flower, and we'll be back. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to finish off the nails, and then we'll come back and we'll see the final. Okay, here they are, all finished. So top coated, matted, and accented with some gems. So if you notice, so I did all the flowers kind of on one side of the nail. So if we're using, so if these are all for the right hand, they're coming from the right, and if I do the left, I would bring the flowers from the other direction. Easy. Thank you, Tino. Those are them. They look pretty both ways. I just put different gems on all of them just to see what they would look like. Okay, so those are the nails. So you could do it with a shiny top coat. He did it with the matte. I like the matte personally. I think it looks really cool. He also did variations. So he did like, you need bigger nails if you're going to do this technique. The brush that I used, this is a better brush to do it with. I think I started using this brush for these ones, I believe. But you do need a bit of a thinner brush. You might even be able to use a liner brush actually to do it, just so that it doesn't spread, because you're doing it on all wet, right? And then of course the pigment. So I'll show you exactly what we used for colors and the different brushes. But those are the finished nails. So to get that color, I mixed these two. So Birthday Boy is that one. And in all honesty, so I mixed those together to make like a bit more of a teal color, right? So those are the first colors. And then we used Electra, obviously, in the wet gel with our petal brush, or you could use a liner brush if you want them thinner. As well, we used Perfect White with that, just to get these little bits. Again, you're doing this all in a wet layer. And then for the little leaves, which the first one I did on the cured nail, but you do get that nice sort of leaf effect if you do it in the wet. We use ProsperUS, which is the Madame Glam Korean Gel Collection for that one. Oh, and then we also used a pigment, right? So for the middle piece, so you just dab the pigment. So that was also used. And then we topped it off with a matte top coat. Oh, cure, obviously. The pigment I did after the cure. If you are done in the wet layer, then I cured, and then I pigmented. Dab the pigment to get more of a pink. You could do it as much or as little as possible. So I maybe could have done it more, but I kind of like the variation of colors in there. Like I think this one's probably my favorite as far as the flower goes. And then you top coat it with a shiny or a matte top coat. And those are our spring flowers. I did a set like this with cherry blossoms that turned out really nice. Maybe I'll do those again next time. But those are our final nails. One hand, Tino bow, nail tutorial, wet. What was it called? Wet floral painting technique. That's what it's called. So if you want to check it out on Tino's channel, I think it's a short that I saw this on, but he did a completely different variation. If you want to follow his exactly, you need a lot. You need bigger nails, not these little teeny weeny ones that don't even fit on my thumb. There's just not enough nail estate. There's not enough of a canvas to do more than one unless I'm working with a liner brush. I guess I could have done it with a liner brush. It would have been just a little more detailed. But those are the nails. So thank you for stopping by. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next time.